Good morning, warrior. Today we're going to ask the question, is it possible to gain muscle after 40, after age 40? So this is Coach Phil here. I help husbands, warriorresults.com. Help husbands get in shape, get abs, and fix their MDD, fitness, motivation deficit disorder. And special, this is relevant on mind. It's also relevant to the world. Fit after 40. It's something that I kind of was like wondering for a while. This is even during my bodybuilding and personal training days. I had a few clients that were in 40s, and the answer is always yes, but I didn't really have an answer beyond that, and so I'm happy to share that with you now in case you're wondering it. I got involved in Mike Matthews stuff. Mike Matthews. And he wrote a book, one of the best-selling fitness books, Bigger, Leaner, Stronger. And then his next book, his like sequel to that, is Beyond Bigger, Leaner, Stronger. What he states, and this is something I wish I would have known back in the day, something I could have told my clients back then. But I remember I had this one client, his name was Mike, and he was amazing. I started training him. So I was like 30-ish or so, and at that point, I had about 25 pounds of muscle on me, and that was it. I put on the newbie gains, and I just basically maintained that. I didn't know proper ways to. I was kind of afraid to be honest with you, to lean gain, to build up muscle, to go into that surplus of calories, because I was fat my whole life going into that, and so. To actually like put on fat, put on weight, I was like really, really scared. So I just kept that 25 pounds. Anyways, I had this client, and he was 37 when I started training him. And he put on about 25 pounds of muscle in the first like couple years. And it was pretty awesome. And I was kind of like, he wasn't quite turning 40, and there's a long story there, but we ended up, I wasn't able to train him after a point, so I was like, like he's about to turn 40. How much more muscle can he put on? So this is what I learned from Mike Matthews. So we all have a genetic potential for us guys for the maximum amount of muscle that we can put on naturally. And for most guys, and a lot of it is determined by your bone structure, by your frame, by your joints. I'm actually a smaller guy. I am about 175 at this weight right now, and I don't have the biggest frame. I don't have like the biggest. My body's just not built for putting on muscle. I'm kind of more of a mesomorph going into that. So whereas some people, the most amount of muscle the most amount of muscle that I can put on, for us guys generally it's in that 40 to 50 pound mark, 40 to 55 pound. Muscles of muscle, and depending on your genetics, I'm probably at this end of it, to be honest with you. And then there's people that are probably like 6'3", 6'4", they're like big football players, football linemen and everything like that are probably like 250, 300 pounds, low body fat percentage, just naturally gifted like that. They're probably at the higher end of that, maybe even more so. But that's a good general rule. That's max amount of muscle that a guy can put on. 40 to 50 pounds, naturally. Right in that ballpark. And this happens. So if your goal is to, let's say, I want to get as much muscle as I possibly can. I want to get all that number that I can, which is the boat that I am in. Your first year, this is your relationship to lifting weights. If you want to put that on, you got to lift those weights. You got to show up to the gym, you got to pick up some heavy stuff, and you got to set it back down. It's kind of how it goes. Then your first newbie gains is about 20 pounds. That's called a newbie gains. And that happens in 1 year, your first year, which is about 2 pounds a month. And that's a really, really good time frame. There's not a lot of like nuance. You just basically show up to the gym, you lift those weights, and it's very like cut and dry. Everything's so new. It's like first day of school for your muscles. Like, oh my goodness. So there's lots of growing. There's lots of newness involved in that. It's like being in football. You see a lot of growth in like the rookie, sophomore, the first like 4 or 5 years, you see a lot of growth. Boom, 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 boom. And then they're kind of like, I don't say they peaked, but because they can always get better. But as far as like their physical ability, they're kind of like, I don't know if you played Madden, but you like your first 4 or 5 years, you get like a rating with your Madden football character, and then you basically hold that. You try to hold that for a while, and then age starts creeping up, where Madden starts taking the numbers down, the rating on it. So that's kind of how it is for this. Your first year, you're going to put on all sorts of muscle your first year. We won't talk too much about how that's done because it's not really that complicated, but we'll definitely have a video all about what that looks like. Then after that, your second and third year, everything basically gets halved after that. So 10 and 5. So this works out to, assuming you are lean gaining, you're having a calorie surplus, you're getting enough proteins in, you're not, the longer you stay like in cutting phases, if you're cutting basically says that I want to maintain the muscle that I got and get rid of as much fat as I can. If you go into a deficit, calorie deficit, it's going to be really, really hard for your body. You probably get stronger. You'll probably see improvements in the gym, but not a lot will be like added on to this potential, okay? So you are cutting, second pound, works out to about a pound a month, 1 pound a month, which is, not that many extra calories a day. Like, it doesn't take much to put on the extra pound a month. And to be honest with you, it's kind of like, it's frustrating because it's like, unless hopefully you're weighing yourself every day and you're recording it, but it's tough to like compare month to month to month as you go forward. And then your third year after that, your body starts accumulating, your muscles start accumulating experience, and it gets harder and harder to get, Mike Matthews put it, you basically got to work twice as hard to get half the gains. You got to like keep throwing more and more things. It's like your body, your muscles have seen so much at this point that they're very experienced. Like, they're not impressed by much of anything anymore. So this is very general, okay? I'm coming up with a training method. I'm experimenting myself with it. I don't want to give it away too much right now, let you know. But I'm experimenting method right now. I'm like having really good gains with. It's actually a training method that was invented decades ago, and it just kind of got lost and forgotten and overshadowed. And I'm like, yeah, whatever happened to that? So it's like very old school, and then it just kind of got lost and forgot about it when all these shiny objects started coming about. So I'm experimenting with it now, and so far it's been really good. So stay tuned for that. But then your third year, you're going to put on about 5 pounds, an extra 5 pounds. So everything gets halved as you go through it. So already we are 3 years into our journey, and we're about 35 pounds. And fourth year is probably, we'll just round up to say that as well. So fourth year, another 5 pounds. So it is about a 4 to 5 year journey doing all this. Sean Nell, I can't pronounce his last name, but he's got an awesome YouTube video. Why don't you go check it out too as well, where it's called like the red pill, blue pill. He's like, the red pill truth for muscle gaining naturally. He's like, this is the truth. Like, I know you don't want to hear it, but this is the truth going forward. And he explained what happened in his experience with him and his clients. And he's not the only one to actually reveal all that. So I'm here to not kind of sugarcoat it. I'm here to tell you kind of how it is. And that's what you sign up for. Okay? If you're like, you want to get the high end of this, if you want to get somewhere in there. And that's the boat that I'm in. And this is, so what happens, bring it back full circle, what happens with 40? All that happens is, let's say you were 20, so let's say this is very middle of the road, a 4-year journey. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're a 20-year-old starting this would be probably about, you start knocking years off for every decade that you are. So let's say you're in the 20s, this will probably happen in 2 years. 30s, it probably happens in 3 years. 40s, it probably happens in 4 years. All that happens is decade to decade is this process takes longer. It's the same process, but your body doesn't quite heal as fast. It doesn't release as many other hormones, but it's still very, very possible. And to be honest with you, like, if I was just 50 doing this, it would probably take about 5 years. Okay? And that's okay. As long as you're doing the right things over and over again. That's all matters. It's still very possible for your body to put on muscle. Your body doesn't just magically stop being a body as it gets older. It's just the things that it does just kind of slows down a little bit. I remember another football story here for you. I remember when I was a kid watching Brett Favre, and as I was starting college, Brett Favre was at the twilight of his career. I remember being like 24, 25, and I think when he retired, when he went through all that, I don't want to be a Packer anymore, and then they unretired and everything like that. And he had like a starting streak that was like really, really long. I forget what number it was, but he kind of shared like, when I was 20, I would be sore after a game. I would be like felt fine after a day. He says like now that he was in his 30s, it was like instead of a day feeling fine, it was like 3 days. He was just like, so he needs some more rest in there as well. So it's like his body was still healing, his body was still recovering. Just took a couple extra days. And same thing, it's that same story for you and your body putting on muscle. Because that's all that muscle is. It's a continual breakdown, rest and repair. Breakdown, rest and repair. And going forward. So what actually happens is, and this is the boat that I was in, is a lot of people can put on their newbie gains, and then basically they don't know the things that they don't know, and they lose out on all these gains going forward. So they're like, and even doing this, most people don't even do the right things to actually get that 20 pounds in the first place. Namely, that's a subject for a different day. We'll talk about some other time. Missing out on gains. So this is cool. This is helpful. Go ahead and thumbs up. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and that way you never miss out on an episode. If you want to, I started off. So never mind. Thought I was going to share another thing for you. I'll say that for a different day. It's been awesome hanging with you, Warrior. You stay cool. Talk to you later.